Hello again, nerds. We are as I kick the microphone apparently. This is on, so if it gets a little noisy, I apologize, but it's a little too hot to turn it off. So, we are doing another reaction video. I've got Trusty here, and we're doing music again. That's why I've got the bass. This is another new Mushroomhead song. I thought they had released a video for this. They haven't yet. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's do an intro first. All right, so this song is called The Heresy, but you know that because you already clicked the button. And this is the second release off of Wonderful Life, which is their record that's coming out in just like 2 weeks, I believe. Just under 2 weeks at this point, I believe. June. I'll pull it up in just a minute. And we were underwhelmed with the last one, sadly. I am quite a Mushroomhead fan, so I was a little disappointed and disheartened with that last track. Hopefully this one's going to not let us down, I guess is a way to say that. So my history with the band, I went over it in the last video. We'll briefly go over it again. I've been listening to Mushroomhead since XX, since they left Cleveland, effectively. They did have 3 records before XX. XX was kind of just a best of from those 3 records, and so roundabout, I want to say 2000 is when I found XX. I will pull it up right now and let you know. So somewhere in that neighborhood is when I found that band. Yeah, 2000. And the new Wonderful Life record is set to release May 20. Whoa. Oh, no. The second single, this one, was May 26th. The actual record, though, it doesn't have a release date on their wiki. There it is, June 19th. So that's how long I've been listening to them. I have every one of their records. I've seen them probably half a dozen times, if not more. I got to interview Stitch, not the last time they came through my state, but the second to last time they came through my state. I tried to get another interview with them last time they came through, but they came through in the middle of winter, and it was really not a good time. They were almost snowed out of coming through, so we could not get that lined up. But hopefully, I do still kind of sort of have some sort of contact with Stitch. Hopefully, we will be able to get another interview going forward. So that's history with the band, history of the band, kind of. And now we're going to talk about expectations. Expectations for this song are kind of high, because the last one was such a letdown. This one, I am expecting to hear Miss Jackie. I am definitely expecting her to be a part of this tune. There's no reason why she shouldn't be. And also expecting this to showcase a little bit more of their musicality, because, again, the last tune really didn't build to anything, didn't really go anywhere, was just, here's a couple of sections to a song that sound like they can go together, and the new vocalist is kind of the main guy on this one. So have fun. That I don't think they're going to do twice, hopefully. I don't know specifically. I mean, again, it's Mushroomhead, so they kind of are really rigid on that boxy kind of structure. They haven't ever really gone outside of a traditional verse, chorus, verse. And I mean, they'll do minor variations on it. They'll throw in a pre-chorus. They'll throw in a couple of different bridges. But by and large, they're pretty solid on the traditional song structure. So I'm not expecting them to really buck that trend at all. It'd be awesome if they did, but not super likely. Also, before we kick over to the video, and by the way, guys, I'm working on some transition stuff for when so it's not just an abrupt transition from one screen to the next. So bear with me. It'll get a lot more visually interesting when you watch these reaction videos. Anyway, I need to do the disclaimer. real quick disclaimer: if you want to listen to this video, because videos are things you listen to. If you want to listen to this song, the original version of this song, then please do that. Go listen to the version we're doing, because again, I couldn't find the actual music video, which I thought existed. We're doing the Napalm release version of it, so it's just going to be the album cover on the screen. You can go listen to that all the way through without me talking over it all you want. I fully encourage that, actually, because I'm going to be talking over it. We're going to be stopping the song. We're going to be replaying sections. We're going to be going over, talking about the things that I think as a musician for the last 20 plus years, the things that I think are working, the things that I think are not working, and why that is. So, again, if you want to listen to the original, go listen to the original. That's not what we do on these reaction videos. These are reactions and analyses, and I might even take a second to work on my ear training, because that apparently was an issue with one of my previous videos. Well, why'd you take 5 minutes to work on? Because I'm a musician, and that's something that I've never needed before, because I've always been either the person writing the music or I've been handed the music to read. I've never had to really play much by ear. So now that we're here and we're talking about the analytics of a song, I want to be able to break it down even better for you guys. So that's a thing that might also happen. That being said, let's transition. Also, considering Jeffrey Nothing, the old secondary vocal, the old melodic vocalist, I guess you could say, for Mushroomhead, put out a new track apparently 2 weeks ago. We might touch on that later, or on the second half of this video. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, right now, we're going for this guy right here. The Heresy is the name of the track, Mushroomhead. Oh, let's hope this one's better. Starting off with some samples, a little bit of keys. Straight 4/4, like you would expect out of Mushroomhead. There's Miss Jackie. Nice. All right, so we're stopping already. All right, so I really like that dynamic is very common in, especially in like more aggressive than what normally gets radio play kind of music, but not necessarily aggressive music. So like death metal doesn't really do this a whole lot, but radio-ish metal, like kind of Mushroomhead is, kind of does this dynamic a lot, and I'm a real big fan of this. We're gonna go back. My mouse is on two different screens. Okay. Drop out everything. So we kind of establish something of a main riff, and then it cuts out, and it's just the piano and vocal. Where are we at? G flat. A little bit of Steve in the background. So this is what I was hoping was going to happen with these vocalists, and I'm so excited it is. So we have Miss Jackie is going... my assumption when we initially got the announcement that Miss Jackie was in the band officially, and so they were writing with her in mind at the very least, or she was part of the writing process at the best, is she was going to take over kind of what Jeffrey Nothing was mostly doing, which is that melodic delivery, which is effective in a section like this. And then J-Man is going to be mostly the harsh vocals, is going to be the kind of hip-hop element, and also the screams and the really extreme aggressive vocal style. And then Steve Rockhurst, Mr. Rockhurst, I can't remember what his stage name is right now, is going to split the difference. He's going to do a little bit of both. He's going to have his aggressive, screamy vocals, and then he's also going to do some of the melodic work, which we saw him do on that last track, which was probably the best part about that last track. It was not that there was a whole lot great about that, but we can hear him in the background here. I'm really digging it. There's J-Man. This is definitely something that this might be a conscious decision for this record, something that's a little more radio friendly. Not that they haven't done radio friendly stuff in the past. It's just never been a whole record that's been like, yeah, you could totally play this on active rock radio right now. Wow, what? Okay, so production. We're going to go back a couple of seconds. So we've got a couple of things going on here that I think are working really, really well. And we've got a couple of things that are going on here that I don't think are working very well at all. Part of both sides of that is instruments and vocals. So we can hear Miss Jackie very, very well. That I think is working very, very well. I think she's the primary vocalist on this song. We should be drawing the attention to her vocal. Yes, absolutely. The bass, wonderful bass. I am totally digging the tone of this bass. I'm totally digging where it rests in the mix. That is absolutely 100% working. And the drums, again, those are two things that a lot of aggressive music don't do as well as they should, and this song is doing them very, very well. Now, the things that are not working... Listen to that guitar. The guitar is being swallowed up by the bass because we haven't set our sonic layout so that the guitar is audible on top of the bass. The bass is sitting right where it should be. And then the guitar needs to be tweaked as probably somewhere over 3,000 kilohertz. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Just so that we can get because the bass is taking up a lot of that midsection, a lot of that bottom end. So if we can get the guitar to pick up the difference in the midsection, so probably even pull up the guitar at 1,000K, and then you would hear a little bit more presence from that guitar, and then probably crank the gain ever so slightly. And then there's the other thing. You hear J-Man in the background, which is, again, we're focusing on Jackie's vocal, absolutely. But that is ineffective J-Man vocals. That is an accent vocal. That is something that is there to make the primary vocal more interesting. If you can't hear it, how is it doing its job? You can hear Rockhurst's voice more than that, and Rockhurst is, all right, so we have two different accents going on. We have accent in the mix, which is Rockhurst, and then accent in the dynamics, which is J-Man. So Rockhurst is almost a harmony with the main vocal, whereas J-Man is a punch underneath the vocal, which really, because it's a punch, you could put that on top, and then you're not distracting from the main vocal. It's making the main vocal more interesting, and that's aggravating. Oh, All right, all right, all right. Performance-wise, that is very super effective. We're gonna go back over that real quick. Performance-wise, that's amazing. I really love that. So we've got this really groovy kind of thing going on here. Not all right. So the punch up could be done better. I feel like the performance of that punch up was well enough. I mean, there are a couple of things that I probably would have done differently if I was the one writing it, but I'm not. So the punch up was fine performance wise, but the EQ, that especially, you need to punch that guitar up because then that becomes your main instrument, and also your main vocal now becomes J-Man for this section, so you need to make his mix a little bit different, and again, not really happening. The performance that they're doing, that the musicians are doing on that side of things, that is effective. It's the production that is really underselling this. See, now I feel like this song needs to go somewhere a little more, because that was a great little bridge. I really dug that bridge section. Again, performance-wise, not production-wise. But that was a great little bridge. Now it's going to drop out, and we're going to go back to that the sonic sound template that we got at the beginning of the song, which is just keys and vocals. And then I feel like it needs to cut in with something a little bit more aggressive and then go back into that verse sound that we got. And that should be the way it goes out. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But again, this is much more dynamics-wise, much better than the last track. Has me much more hopeful for this record. Hear that guitar. Almost. We went back into that versey kind of. And then we have a vinyl sounding out. Where is that? My bass is distorting a little bit, isn't it? So that let's do this. Let's do this. Trying to find, so if I can find where that lives, I want to show you what I would have done differently. So it's E to G flat, or F sharp, whatever. So we had that guitar coming in somewhere. Was it on that G flat? somewhere around there, and then it comes into the that riff. If we would have had a little more staccato, something, somewhere more in that area for coming back in after her vocal, and then cut into that. If that had been the second half of that song, it would have been much more cathartic for me. But either way, this is a step up from the last track that we got from Mushroomhead. That's where I think I'm gonna do that Jeffrey Nothing track, because I think it's gonna go much faster. So let's just touch on that real quick, just because I'm interested. I didn't even realize he had put out new music solo yet. So we're gonna touch this real quick, and then we'll call it a video. This video may potentially trigger seizures. All right, so right off the bat, we have a better guitar mix at the very least. We'll see what happens when the bass kicks in, but the guitar is at least much more audible. Yeah, no, the bass did not come through. Little bridge breakdown. See, this dynamic is better, I think. All right, so things that are happening better here that we're not going over so well in that last track is the guitar. Obviously, I've already pointed that out. But also the vocal layering is much more integrated. There's a number of different tracks that Nothing did for this, but they're accenting one another very well. The bass, though, again, man. He did learn very well comparatively that how to mix those drums. Skinny from Mushroomhead is also, I believe, is at least a large part of the production on Mushroomhead. So like when he's experimenting with new sounds, you can tell, which is apparently what he's doing right now with this new record that they're doing for Napalm. But I would imagine Nothing has learned quite a bit about mixing those drums, because those drums sound excellent. So they're in D. Another little bridgy breakdown thing. I'm digging the dynamics that he's doing on this. Yeah, definitely in D. It's just more aggressive. I think that's why. It's just more aggressive. That might be why I'm digging the sound of this track more than the Mushroomhead track. And it's not just aggressive necessarily in the performance. It's more aggressive in the production. There's more that stands out. There's more ups and downs in the sound. And there's a solo section. I wonder who he's got playing on this record with him. Like, I can't even... The only issues I have with this song I've already pointed out, so I can't even... His vocal delivery... Alright, so that's one thing that we can kind of touch on real quick with Jeffrey Nothing. Nothing uses his head voice to a flaw, almost. Like, I have always been a big fan of the way Jeffrey Nothing sounds because he is so unique. I just, at times, am afraid he might be hurting himself. Apparently not, because I don't even know how old he is, and he's been doing this since the early 90s, just like that. So he must be doing a little bit better vocally than I anticipate. But, like, as far as I know, he's never had to step away. He's never messed anything up with his vocals. It just sounds like he's pushing a little too hard from here and not using his diaphragm enough. And, all right, so, again, this was a note from somebody in one of the previous videos. All tone when you're singing, all of your tone, regardless of which voice you're using, if it's head voice, if it's chest voice, if it's a throaty sound, all of your power for that needs to come from your diaphragm. It doesn't matter what the resonators you're using are. The power for that sound should be coming from your diaphragm. And apparently, again, his voice is so unique, it's kind of hard to pick out. Apparently, even though it kind of sounds like he's pushing from his throat, he must be pushing from his diaphragm. Again, because he has such a long career of sounding just like this, that's got to be where he's pushing from. It just sounds like he's coming a little too much from the throat. And if you come too much from the throat, that's when you start to hurt yourself. So, to my knowledge, he's never done that. But... if you listen to Rockhurst in the previous Mushroomhead track that we did, not this one that we just covered now, but in the previous video, Rockhurst is very much a head voice kind of guy too. He's a little bit of chest voice, but mostly when he gets to go off by himself, he gets up in those higher ranges. And there's a difference between head voice and falsetto. We're not going to cover that, but yeah. Nothing generally sounds like he's pushing from his throat, but there's no way he's been doing this for 30 plus years, or almost 30 years, I guess. No, yeah, it would be if he joined Mushroomhead in 94, 93, then it's going on 30 years right now. So that's he's just got such a really cool voice. I just wish there was a little more variance in his register. That's I think where I was going with that. I just wish he had more than just that head voice. He could deliver a little bit of chest voice. He could deliver something that gives us, because we have all these great dynamics in this song, give us a little bit of dynamic in that vocal as well. Let me sit down and show you the dream. Instead of that's diaphragm, right? That's diaphragm. What he's doing, he's starting to break in those higher notes. That's why I think he's pushing a little bit too much with his throat. But again, I can't say for certain because he would have hurt himself by now. Yeah, I think Jeffrey Nothing just showed Mushroomhead how to do it, man. That's so interesting. So Nothing has put out solo music before. He put out, I don't remember the name of the track or the name of the album, but he did one record while he was still in Mushroomhead, and it was not that great. It was okay. It was listenable. It was just there was not a whole lot memorable about it, and it all sounded like Mushroomhead light. This kind of still has that Mushroomheady kind of feel. Just I feel like that's always going to follow him because he is such an iconic voice that was such a big part of that sound for so long. I think everyone's always going to make those comparisons of, oh, well, this part kind of sounds like Mushroomhead, and I think that might be partially to an extent by design because those drum tones sound very much like Skinny. Whoever he's got hitting the skins behind that set definitely is taking notes from Skinny's style in some of those sections, and also the production on those is very much a Skinny style production. So I don't think he's ever going to avoid the Mushroomhead comparisons, even though he's not in the band anymore. I do think, though, he delivered on a higher level with this track than either of the two Mushroomhead tracks we've heard without him so far. I'm really interested. All right? So I know nothing about this record. Produced and written by Jeffrey Nothing and Thomas Church. So he's got Thomas Church playing with them. That's who's on the guitar. That would be why there was a guitar solo, because Church is on there with him, which is kind of funny because I don't know the band dynamics that well, but I didn't feel like Church was in long enough to create that close of a relationship with Nothing. But it has the lyrics for the song, Connect with Jeffrey. Nothing as far as video production. Nothing as far as the record. Maybe if we go to the stream, I'm taking a look at. I'm sorry, I changed the screen, but I don't want you to see too much of my stuff. Never Enough is just a solo track. No information on a record. I'll have to look that up, and if next time we get a Mushroomhead track, or if he puts out a new, I'll do a reaction to the next track that Nothing puts out solo. Shoot, yeah. So very interesting. Apparently, he's not putting together a record. He's just put out a couple of solo tracks. All right, I can get behind that. So yeah, that's where we're ending it, guys. This is one of the longer reaction videos. Oh boy, what did you think of either of these songs that we talked about? What did you think of where I went with it? My suggestions, the things I would have done differently. Am I right? Do you think I'm wrong? Let's have that conversation down in the comments section. Is there another Mushroomhead track that I need to do? You should definitely let me know that, because I again really like the Mushroomhead. Is there another band that kind of fits in this same sound profile that you think I should do? Let me know that as well, because, again, more reactions the better. I try and get to requests before I do the stuff on my list, and my list is super long, so I'll always have something to react to. But, again, thank you guys for joining me. I do. I also do a twice weekly news show on nerd news stuff. I don't talk about the super serious stuff going on in the news, especially right now, for multiple reasons with the stuff right now. But there is a nerd news show that happens twice a week. I'm actually starting the research for it tonight for tomorrow's episode, getting into deeper whatever. So check that out. You can see all of the other things on the channel if you click one of those two boxes right there below my face. Let's see if I can... over here. One of those two boxes. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. There's one below the screen as well. You can subscribe, ding the bell so you know when I'm posting new videos. Yeah, all of the things. GenerallyNerdy.net is the website. Patreon.com/GenerallyNerdy to support. There's a bunch more content on both of those, so go check that out. Thank you, nerds, once again for joining me. Before we head out, always always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.